I'd like to start off with the big international story. Graham, Syria, it's a bit of a double-edged sword for the UK. This is that people welcome the downfall of the Assad regime, but are concerns about the wider conflagration in the Middle East.
Yeah, I think the first thing to say is that obviously it's good news that Assad has gone. I think that's something the Prime Minister said and the Foreign Secretaries said this week. That was a murder regime. You've seen some of the images coming out of Syria over the last few days of children, other people imprisoned being released. I think everyone welcomes that. I think, as you said, it is something we've got to be cautious how we respond to this. We've got to make sure that we're engaging properly and constructively, but also making sure that we're alive to the risks or threats that still exist. We've seen the government obviously putting some funding for Syria this week as well. Prime Minister has been saying we need to make sure we're engaging more in the area, but we do need to make sure we're proceeding carefully and indeed on a cross-party consensual basis, I think, wherever we can.
Graham, we have instability in the Middle East. We know the Ukraine situation in Europe. Should your government, a Labour government, now be committing to greater defence spending?
I think the Labour government's been very clear. This budget added extra money for defence already this year on top of the funding that we promised to Ukraine for as long as it takes. I think that's something that we've said we will move towards 2.5%. The last time it was at that level was the last time there was a Labour government. We've also seen increased in armed forces wages, the largest pay rise they've ever had. So I think this Labour government is taking defence absolutely seriously, as we should with the instability we're seeing in the world.
Graham, Christine alluded to dangers on multiple fronts. This could mean that we have movements of people on a scale we've not seen before. Immigration is once again coming to the fore in this country. It dominated the exchanges between the Conservatives and your Prime Minister. How important and how easy is it going to be to sort out immigration, legal migration and illegal migration?
Well, I think the first thing to do is to separate out immigration into what people are really talking about. There's immigration, which is where we need skills to make sure we fill the gaps, where we need people in the economy. And there's the asylum seeker system that we also need to make sure is resolved. I think it's important that all of us talking about this issue make sure we do separate those things out. I think that's the first thing to say. I mean, you heard the Prime Minister at Prime Minister's Question Time today talking about the incredibly dreadful record we've been left by the previous Conservative government on immigration and on the boats, on asylum seekers and the boats crossing the channel. That's something we're taking the steps to address. But I think it is an absolutely vital issue and one we must handle very sensibly with asylum seekers to make sure we are looking after the people who we should be looking after, making sure we're smashing the criminal gangs that are acting illegally, stemming that back in Germany, where we heard the Prime Minister talk about and the deal we've done with the German government today. At the same time, we need to make sure that we're looking at the skills system, which is a devolved matter in Scotland, where I think the Scottish government have not really got hold of what they need and the skills that they need to make sure they are there. But I think that's an opportunity where the UK government can work constructively with the Scottish government to make sure we've got the immigration system we need to get the skills we need, while making sure we're also tackling asylum seeking as well.